Pirates of the Caribbean is a series of fantasy-adventure films produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and based on Walt Disney's theme park ride of the same name. Directors of the series include Gore Verbinski, Rob Marshall, and Joachim Rønning Espen Sandberg. The series was scripted by Terry Rossio, Ted Elliott, and Jeff Nathanson, with the stories following the adventures of Captain Jack Sparrow, Captain Barbossa, Joshamee Gibbs, Walt Turner, and Elizabeth Swann. The films take place in a fictional historical setting. A world ruled largely by an amalgam of alternative versions of the British Empire and the East India Company, with the pirates representing freedom from the ruling powers. The films started with their first release on the big screen in 2003 with Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, which received positive reviews from the critics and grossed $654 million worldwide. After the first film's success, Walt Disney Pictures revealed that a trilogy was in the works. The franchise's second film, subtitled Dead Man's Chest, was released 3 years later in 2006. The sequel proved successful, breaking financial records worldwide the day of its premiere. It ended up being the #1 film of the year upon earning $1,066,179,725 at the worldwide box office. The third film in the series, subtitled At World's End, followed in 2007, and Disney released a fourth film, subtitled On Stranger Tides, on May 20, 2011 in conventional 2D, digital 3D and IMAX 3D. On Stranger Tides succeeded in grossing more than $1 billion, becoming the second film in the franchise and the eighth film in history to achieve this. So far, the film franchise has grossed $3.72 billion worldwide. It is the seventh highest-grossing film series of all time, and it was the first franchise where more than one film grossed $1 billion worldwide. A fifth film, subtitled Dead Men Tell No Tales, is currently in development. Films: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Blacksmith Will Turner teams up with eccentric pirate Captain Jack Sparrow to save his love, Elizabeth Swann, from undead pirates led by Jack's former first mate, Captain Barbossa. Jack wants revenge against Barbossa, who left him stranded on an island before stealing his ship, the Black Pearl, along with 882 pieces of cursed Aztec gold. Dead Man's Chest. Lord Cutler Beckett of the East India Trading Company arrests Will and Elizabeth for aiding Captain Jack Sparrow in the previous film. Beckett offers clemency if Will agrees to search for Jack's compass in a bid to find the dead man's chest and inside, the heart of villainous Davy Jones which would give Beckett control of the seas. However, Jack wants the chest to escape from an unpaid debt with Jones, who raised the Black Pearl from the seabed and made Jack captain for 13 years in exchange for 100 years of service aboard Jones' ship. At World's End. Lord Beckett gains power over Davy Jones, and with the help of Jones' ship, the Flying Dutchman, he is now executing his plans to extinguish piracy forever. To stand against the East India Trading Company, Will, Elizabeth, Barbossa, and the crew of the Black Pearl set out to rescue Captain Jack Sparrow from Davy Jones' locker. As one of the 9 pirate lords, Jack is needed in order to summon an ancient goddess with the power to defeat Beckett's forces. On Stranger Tides. Captain Jack Sparrow is on a quest to find the fabled Fountain of Youth and crosses paths with a former lover, Angelica. She forces Jack aboard the Queen Anne's Revenge, a ship captained by the infamous pirate Blackbeard, Angelica's father. Both are also in search of the fountain. Angelica to save her father's soul, Blackbeard to escape a prophecy of his demise at the hands of a one-legged man. Joining the hunt is former pirate Captain Barbossa, now a privateer in King George II's navy, who is in a race against the Spanish for the fountain. Dead Men Tell No Tales. On May 29, 2013, it was announced that Norwegian directors Joachim Rønning and Espen Sandberg would be helming the film. On August 22, 2013, it was revealed that the title of the fifth film would be Dead Men Tell No Tales, alluding to the line well known from the Pirates of the Caribbean theme park attractions. On January 15, 2014, Directors Joachim Rønning and Espen Sandberg confirmed that shooting would start in Puerto Rico and New Orleans at the end of the year. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer is hopeful that the film can be ready for May 20, 2016. As of June 9, 2014, according to Jerry Bruckheimer in a recent brief video interview, he is hopeful and planning on the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean film starting production in January 2015. Short film, Tales of the Code, Wedlocked, wenches Scarlett and Giselle fix each other up for their wedding, in which they would each marry their groom. Upon realizing that both their grooms were the same man, Jack Sparrow, the two wenches found themselves in an auction led by the auctioneer. The short film serves as a prequel to The Curse of the Black Pearl, explaining just why Jack Sparrow's boat the Jolly Mon was seen sinking at the beginning of the whole story, and explaining why wenches Scarlett and Giselle were so upset with him, and implies how Cotton lost his tongue. The plot took inspiration from the auction scene from the original ride. Production, first film. In the early 1990s, screenwriters Elliott and Terry Rossio conceived a supernatural spin on the pirate genre after completing work on Aladdin, but there was no interest from any studio. Undeterred, the writing team refused to give up the dream, waiting for a studio to pick up their take on a pirate tale. Disney had J. Walpert write a script based on the Pirates of the Caribbean, which producer Jerry Bruckheimer rejected, feeling it was a straight pirate movie. Bruckheimer brought Stuart Beattie in to rewrite the script in March 2002, due to his knowledge of piracy, and later that month Elliott and Rossio were brought in. Elliott and Rossio, inspired by the opening narration of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, decided to give the film a supernatural edge. As the budget rose, Michael Eisner and Robert Iger threatened to cancel the film, though Bruckheimer changed their minds when he showed them concept art and animatics. In June 2002, Gore Verbinski signed on to direct The Curse of the Black Pearl, and Johnny Depp and Geoffrey Rush signed on the following month to star. Verbinski was attracted to the idea of using modern technology to resurrect a genre, one that had disappeared after the golden age of Hollywood, and recalled his childhood memories of the ride, feeling the film was an opportunity to pay tribute to the scary and funny tone of it. Depp was attracted to the story as he found it quirky. Rather than trying to find treasure, the crew of the Black Pearl were trying to return it in order to lift their curse. Also, the traditional mutiny had already taken place. Verbinski approached Rush for the role of Barbossa, as he knew he would not play it with attempts at complexity, but with a simple villainy that would suit the story's tone. Orlando Bloom read the script after Rush, with whom he was working on Ned Kelly, suggested it to him. Keira Knightley came as a surprise to Verbinski. He had not seen her performance in Bend It Like Beckham and was impressed by her audition. Tom Wilkinson was negotiated with the play Governor Swan, but the role went to Jonathan Pryce, whom Depp idolized. Shooting for The Curse of the Black Pearl began on October 9, 2002 and wrapped by March 7, 2003. Before its release, many executives and journalists had expected the film to flop, as the pirate genre had not been successful for years. The film was based on a theme park ride, and Depp rarely made a big film. However, The Curse of the Black Pearl became both a critical and commercial success. Second and third films. After seeing how well the first film was made, the cast and crew signed for 2 sequels to be shot back-to-back, a practical decision on Disney's part to allow more time with the same cast and crew. Writers Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio knew that with an ensemble cast, they weren't free to invent totally different situations and characters, as with the Indiana Jones and James Bond series, and so had to retroactively turn The Curse of the Black Pearl into the first of a trilogy. They wanted to explore the reality of what would happen after Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann's embrace at the end of the first film, and initially considered the Fountain of Youth as the plot device. They settled on introducing Davy Jones, the Flying Dutchman and the Kraken, a mythology mentioned twice in the first film. They introduced the historical East India Trading Company, which for them represented a counterpoint to the themes of personal freedom represented by pirates. Filming for the sequels began on February 28, 2005, with Dead Man's Chest finishing on March 1, 2006, and At World's End on January 10, 2007. The second film was also the first Disney theatrical feature film with the current computer-generated Walt Disney Pictures logo. Fourth film, Rossio and Elliott discovered the novel on Stranger Tides during production of Dead Man's Chest and At World's End and decided to use it as the basis for a fourth film. As Gore Verbinski was unavailable, Bruckheimer invited Rob Marshall to direct the film. Elliott and Rossio decided to do a standalone film, with a story that would support new characters, and incorporate elements from the novel, such as Blackbeard, the Fountain of Youth and Mermaid, the latter two having been already alluded to in the previous films. Depp, Rush, Greg Ellis and Kevin McNally returned to their roles, and the cast saw the additions of Ian McShane as Blackbeard and Penna Copyright Lope Cruz as Angelica, Blackbeard's daughter and Jack Sparrow's love interest. A further addition was Richard Griffiths as King George II of Great Britain. After the costly production of two simultaneous films, Disney tried to scale down the fourth installment, giving a lower budget, which led to cheaper locations and fewer scenes with special effects. It was also filmed in 3D, with cameras similar to the ones used in Avatar. Filming for On Stranger Tides began June 14, 2010 and ended on November 19, 2010. It was released in the United States on May 20, 2011. Fifth film. In the fourth film the cast and crew were told by Disney not to occupy their time in the near future, as the studio intended to shoot a fifth and sixth film back-to-back. However, it was later stated that only a fifth film was in the works. On January 14, 2011, it was confirmed that Terry Rossio would write the screenplay for the fifth installment, without his co-writer Ted Elliott, the second Jerry Bruckheimer-produced film to do so after Dark copyright Ja Vu. Johnny Depp said that he would be happy to return as Captain Jack Sparrow, saying, "As long as we can put all the puzzle pieces together, I would most definitely consider it." Jerry Bruckheimer said that the fifth film would be a stand-alone film. It was reported that Terry Rossio finished the script for the fifth film, and he had handed it to Disney executives. Geoffrey Rush had commented on returning as Hector Barbossa in the fifth installment, saying, "If they keep shape-shifting this character, absolutely, as well as implying he may return as the villain." He also said that Barbossa's megalomania could explode in horrific ways. Speaking at the fourth film's press launch in Cannes, Depp said he would play the role for as long as it is popular with the public. In October 2011, Jerry Bruckheimer confirmed that they are working on a script. In an interview, Kevin McNally stated that a fall 2012 production start was possible. Disney had a wish list of directors they would like to direct, including Tim Burton, Sam Raimi, Alfonso Cuarón, Sean Levy, Chris Weitz, and original Pirates director Gore Verbinski. Verbinski and Burton were Disney's top choices, as they had both worked with Disney and Johnny Depp on numerous occasions. On July 6, 2011, Johnny Depp was reported to be close to a deal for the fifth film. Orlando Bloom said he would like to return for the film if he was offered. There was a report by MovieHole that, when asked about the film's plot, a separate Disney contact simply said, "Well, Turner's story might not be finished." In August 2012, news surfaced that Johnny Depp signed on officially for the fifth film. In November 2012, Sunset, the ship which played the Black Pearl in the Queen Anne's Revenge in the second, third, and the latter in the fourth film, was docked into Long Beach, California from Oahu, Hawaii, where On Stranger Tides was filmed, waiting for her call-up. On January 11, 2013, Jeff Nathanson signed on to write the script for the film. On January 14, 2013, Disney announced that the film would be released on July 10, 2015. On May 9, 2013, Disney announced its short list of directors included Frederick Bond, Joachim Rønning and Espen Sandberg, and Rupert Sanders. On May 29, 2013, Rønning and Sandberg were selected to direct. On August 22, 2013, Rønning and Sandberg revealed that the title of the fifth film would be Dead Men Tell No Tales. They also confirmed that they were working on the film, speaking highly of Jeff Nathanson's funny and touching script, and that they are inspired by the first film, The Curse of the Black Pearl. On September 10, 2013, Disney pushed back the film's initial 2015 release, with sources indicating that a summer 2016 release is likely. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer revealed that script issues were behind the delay, and that Jeff Nathanson was at work on a second attempt based on a well-received outline. Since the delay, rumors have arisen regarding the film, including its plot. On September 11, 2013, Bleeding Cool revealed plot details for the film, which includes a new female lead and troublemaker for Captain Jack Sparrow, who is suspected of witchcraft, but is actually a scientist. 2 new romantic leads from farming families. A ghost in a lead role, a former member of the British military who is now sided with Captain Barbossa on a revenge mission, which gives the film its title. A film also supposedly starts with an awkward wedding, and concludes with a riff on the myth of the Bermuda Triangle. Daily Mail later reported that Keith Richards would return as Jack Sparrow's dad, Captain Tiag, and that the plot revolves around a search for the trident, which Richards' Tiag holds valuable information to. Other details seem to confirm previous rumors. Christoph Waltz may play the villain named Captain Brand, who wants the trident so he can get his revenge on Jack, who Brand believes had turned his brother Eric into a pirate, which led to his death. Bleeding Cool, when commenting the latest, says the Waltz part is nothing like a done deal. Indeed, unregistered trademark D call their story hearsay. Another plot detail is that Jack becomes enchanted by Barbossa's daughter, Corina Smith. Corina is a skilled astronomer who is accused of witchcraft due to her science knowledge and, according to Bleeding Cool, the studio is interested in Rebecca Hall for this role. On January 15, 2014, directors Joachim Rønning and Espen Sandberg confirmed that the shooting of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales would take place in Puerto Rico and New Orleans at the end of the year. On January 19, 2014, Lee Arenberg and Mackenzie Crook, who portrayed Pintle and Ragetti in the first 3 films, expressed their interests in returning for the 5th film. On April 4, 2014, Johnny Depp said in an interview that Bruckheimer and Disney had invited him in to collaborate with the writer Jeff Nathanson. He also said that he wants to bring a Pirates film that's very fresh and different, implying that it might be the last one in the series. Another interview on April 13, 2014, Depp was quoted in saying, "Everyone involved wants the script to be right and perfect. So we have gone on to do other things. We are still going to do the film together. I enjoy them immensely. They are super talented. They have a great sense of humor. I think they have a really fun approach to what we are going to do with the next Pirates. Very happily and proudly, I have welcomed taking part in the story and working directly with the screenwriter he and I. It's working out really well that way. So I have high hopes for that Pirates 5 feet, because if that's really the last one, which it probably is, I feel that we owe it to the audience who went and saw the film so many times. We unregistered trademark LL do it right and end it on a high note." Later that month, Jerry Bruckheimer expressed that the film is hopefully moving forward, and that it'll get going by this fall or the end of the year if everything lines up properly. While noting that Johnny Depp is expected to reprise his role, the producer also said regarding Keith Richards' return, "I hope so. We'd love to have him back, so we'll see." Bruckheimer declined to speculate about a 6th Pirates film, saying simply, "We make 'em one at a time." Principal cast, crew and other, reception, box office performance. All Pirates of the Caribbean films were successful at the box office, with grosses of over $600 a million, and all at some point ranking among the 50 highest-grossing films of all time. 2 of the films had earnings surpassing the $1 billion mark, Dead Man's Chest and On Stranger Tides, becoming the first of only 3 franchises with 2 films which have earned over $1 billion, the second being the Batman series and the third being Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Curse of the Black Pearl was the 3rd highest-grossing 2003 film in North America and 4th worldwide. Dead Man's Chest was the most successful film of 2006 both in North America and worldwide, and at World's End led the worldwide grosses in 2007, though being only 4th in North America. On Stranger Tides was the 3rd highest-grossing film of 2011 worldwide and the 5th in North America. All of the sequels broke box office records upon release, of which the most notable are the opening weekend record in North America, the Memorial Day weekend record in North America and the opening weekend record outside North America. Critical response, accolades. Academy Awards, together, all the first 3 films were nominated for a total of 11 Academy Awards, of which a single award was won. Golden Globe Awards, together, all the 4 films were nominated for a total of 2 Golden Globe Awards, of which neither were won. MTV Movie Awards, together, all the first 3 films were nominated for a total of 13 MTV Movie Awards, of which 4 were won. Teen Choice Awards, together, all the 4 films were nominated for a total of 25 Teen Choice Awards, of which 16 were won. References. External links, official website.